Good morning, everybody. So we're reading through 1 Kings 22, 2 Chronicles 18. You wouldn't believe how much I had to practice that to remember it. Just a side note, a carry over from what we were reading yesterday. We see here that Ahab is definitely softened towards Yahweh because he's let the prophet live. He knows that there's a prophet of Yahweh who doesn't say anything nice about him, and he's let him live. So it lets us know that his heart is tendered. He hasn't changed all that much. He hasn't got rid of the idols and the shrines and all that sort of stuff. But he has stopped killing the prophets. That's good. And then we have Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, one of my favorite kings, is strange to me because he's coming to this alliance with Ahab, because Jehoshaphat, as dedicated as he is to the Lord, and as much as reform as he brings in, and he teaches and instructs the people, and it's all on him. It's not so much the people. It's something that he basically forces upon the kingdom. It's not necessarily something that the people were chasing after. His weakness is his desire to see the kingdom unified. He looks at Israel and says, these are our brothers and sisters. And so he marries into Ahab's family. And so he has this alliance now with him. And Ahab is trying to drag him into this war. A crazy war, but he's trying to drag him into this war. And Jehoshaphat says, like, I'll go with you, but let's check with with Yahweh first. And the other prophets were prophesying and blah 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 blah. But and he says, yeah, but is there a prophet of Yahweh? And so he goes and they listen to what the prophet is saying, and basically, like, if you go, you're going to meet with disaster, because this is how the Lord's going to destroy you. And you would think that Jehoshaphat, having the relationship he does with Yahweh, would turn to Ahab and say, hey, it's a no-go. Yahweh says no, I'm not having anything to do with it. But here we see his alliance with Ahab is stronger than his alliance with the Lord. And that's sad to say. That, because if Yahweh was that important to him, then he wouldn't follow through on this alliance with Ahab when Yahweh is saying it's going to end in disaster. And we can sit here and criticize him for it, but how many times have we known clearly what the Lord is saying, what his heart is on things? But our fear of man, or alliances with the systems of the world, have us choose things opposite to what Yahweh is saying, what our Father is saying, what he's speaking to us. We know the conviction of the Spirit, and we choose opposite that because the systems of the world that we've aligned ourselves to have a greater priority than our alliance with the King. And that's what Jesus said, that friendship with the world, man, that's just disastrous. You can't be friends with the world and belong to the King. You just can't. You can't have two loves. You can't have a split heart. So you have to decide today, like, will you follow the King, or are you going to follow the world, because you can't do both? It's just going to end in disaster, as it did with Jehoshaphat. Now Jehoshaphat got out of that situation, and there was a great victory yet to come. as we see a great army from Edom coming against him, and we'll deal with that in other videos. But at the end of his days, like he tried to build this great fleet, and he made alliances again with Israel, and it all ended in disaster. He lost a fortune because of it. We have to make up our mind. Do we live by the kingdom, or do we live by this world? It's our decision. Do we live by the kingdom, or do we live by this world? Do we walk in faith, and that faith is a relationship thing where we trust what the Lord says. We live by every word that proceeds from His mouth. We believe His system. We believe the promises of Jesus. We live by these promises. Or do we live by the systems that the world has been built on, which are deceptive and weak, and will end in disaster and have nothing to do with eternity? So you decide who you will serve. You decide today who you will serve. That's the decision that you make. So you guys be blessed. I know you're going to choose the Lord, but just reflect on what the difference is between the kingdom and the systems of this world. Be blessed, be encouraged, draw in to our King, discover more of His love.